Welcome to Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. I'm Peter Gross, the co-host of the original Wild Kingdom with Marlin, Perkins, and Jim Fowler. You know, throughout the years of filming Wild Kingdom, we were faced with the grim reality of extinction of some animal species. In the 60s and early 70s, animals were negatively impacted by the loss of habitat and the use of a chemical insecticide known as DDT. Today, DDT has been banned in the United States, and we've made great strides to preserve wide open spaces where animals can thrive. Wild Kingdom made a direct impact on modern captive breeding and release programs. We are now seeing a positive comeback for species like this red-tailed hawk. We must all do our part to continue this progress to protect all animals in the Wild Kingdom. So sit back and relax and enjoy Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom right here.
Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom is presented by Mutual of Omaha.
Hello, welcome to Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. Eagles have captured man's imagination since early times. To me, this is one of the most spectacular faces in all the Wild Kingdom. The eyes of an eagle are legend, and so is its reputation. The Romans used a golden figure of an eagle to stand for strength, skill, and bravery. Second only to the lion, the golden eagle was the favorite design on the shields of knights and noblemen, and was known as the lion of the air.
I would say the golden eagle deserves every bit of this reputation, Marlin. He's big and powerful, and its talons are as strong as the teeth of a big cat. Its wings are soaring wings, and this enables it to float on the air currents for hours, searching for its prey. It's also called the mountain eagle, and is found throughout the northern hemisphere.
We've always wanted to do a story about a family of eagles. To do it, we had to find an area where there were lots of them. Right here in southern Idaho, along the Snake River, we finally found one of the heaviest populations of golden eagles in the world. We named it the Valley of Eagles. For eons of time, the Snake River has cut through layers of sandstone and lava to form these mighty cliffs, towering 1,000 feet in the air. Cliffs so high and jagged that Jim and I were glad to have an expert like Morley Nelson along to lead us to the nest of a pair of eagles he'd recently discovered. It seemed that the only way to get there was to go straight up. Finally, he got a handhold, and that was all he needed to reach the top. The ropes made the going a good deal easier for Jim and me. Those last 20 feet were the most dangerous part of the climb. The top of the cliff offered a spectacular panorama, the river winding 1,000 feet below us. What a magnificent empire the eagles ruled. Not far away, two eagles stood on a huge nest of sticks and looked us over quite calmly. These cliffs afford a safe place to build a nest and a good updraft on which to glide without effort. After making a pass at some rock pigeons, the eagle rode high above the cliffs to soar across the dry, rolling sagebrush country, where the eagles do most of their hunting. Not long after the first eagle had left the nest, the large female launched herself into space, and we could see that this pair had already begun to raise their family. This was just what we were looking for. So after the eagles hatched, we built a blind on a ledge not far from the nest where we could easily observe the private life of the eagles. And what a fascinating experience it was. Although we were well hidden inside the blind, we had an unobstructed view of the valley. Jim left, and since birds can't count, the eagles didn't know I was still in the blind. Almost immediately, the female landed on the nest. At her feet were 3 tiny puffs of white down, freshly hatched. But the mother saw something else, a bull snake on a nearby ledge. She left the nest, and I saw the hunter go into action. Once caught in the powerful grip of the eagle's talons, the snake doesn't have a chance. By twisting the snake's backbone with her beak, she quickly kills her prey. At this age, the young chicks have to be fed often, and the mother can't be too choosy as to what kind of meal she sets before them. Each eaglet patiently waits its turn. The parent, a fierce hunter only moments ago, is now a sensitive, gentle mother. Her powerful beak becomes a delicate tool for cutting and serving small bits of meat to the hungry chicks. After feeding them, she settles down and spreads her wings to protect them from the sun.
While Marlin stayed in the blind, I explored the eagle's territory. A young puma is one of my first discoveries. He's on his way to a spring near his den. And here comes a skunk. Apparently, the skunk couldn't care less about the puma. But that black furry tail is just too much for the young cat. He has to investigate. After all, this is his territory, and he's large enough to start defending his claim to it. So far, so good. But he just can't leave well enough alone. This has developed into a very smelly situation. He gets it right in the eye. Safe in his den, the puma suddenly spots an eagle. To a little ground squirrel, this spells danger. The eagle has come for some relief from the midday heat. But no small animal is safe with an eagle around. It's just too close for comfort. This time, she'll have to look elsewhere for food for her young.
As the weeks pass, the young eagles grow at an astonishing rate. By now, the parents spend most of their time trying to satisfy the ravenous appetites of their youngsters. I continued to watch the progress of the eaglets. It was soon time for them to try their wings and learn to stand on their own 2 feet.
As the young eagles continue to grow, the parents have to spend more and more of their time searching for food. The female usually handles the feeding chores, while the male spends most of his time hunting. Sometimes he hunts low over the sagebrush, or soars to great heights where his sharp eyes can detect the slightest movement 1,000 feet below. A brush fire always brings good hunting to a hungry eagle. Oil in the bark of the sagebrush ignites like a torch, and the fire leaves the countryside burned and barren. Animals have no place to hide, and many of the slower moving ones are forced to run for their lives. The eagle has the advantage, gliding above the fire as animals panic before the flames. An abandoned hole offers shelter for a prairie dog. But it's plugged, and he must dig to escape the searing heat. Another prairie dog runs for the safety of the same hole, but there's not enough room for two. Danger is in the sky as well, and the chase is on. Once the eagle is on the ground, the prairie dog has the advantage. The prairie dog escapes and proves that even with the help of a fire, it's difficult for an eagle to catch its prey. But the day is not over. A pheasant lies motionless, hoping to escape detection. But the fire leaves the pheasant no place to hide. Now he'll have food for a few more days until hunger again drives him to hunt. Even though the male has been successful, the female must also hunt in order to provide enough food for her growing young. She sails across the face of the cliff until her sensitive wings detect a rising thermal of air on which she can soar high into the sky. She heads for her favorite hunting ground, where jackrabbits are plentiful. The eagle searches the area carefully, hoping to flush her prey into the open. When the rabbit runs, the eagle drops from the sky, and again there's a contest for survival.
It was fascinating for me to observe the reaction of the hungry eaglets as their mother approached with food. She drops their meal and leaves, apparently unwilling to referee this early contest for the survival of the fittest. The young eaglet fills its crop to the bulging point. They're almost as large as their parents now, and one rabbit just isn't enough to go around. But that makes the competition rougher. This young eagle seems to have eyes larger than his mouth. After eating all they possibly can, they relax and begin to preen. Oil from a gland at the base of the tail is used to condition the feathers. Whenever there's a breeze, the eaglets instinctively try their wings. But there's a lot more warm-up to come before takeoff. A little exercise seems to call for a lot of rest. At this age, it's their favorite pastime. For Mother, there's no rest. Once again, the eaglets wake up and follow her flight to the nest, and the contest begins again. The young eagles are out of the nest at about 2.5 months of age. They still can't fly very well, so they spend most of their time standing on the cliff. After several weeks of trial flights, the better developed flyer sets out to explore this new world on his own. With the aid of good updrafts, he quickly learns to glide like his parents. Jim and I left our positions near the nest and took a canoe to further study the habits of the eagles. Young eagles aren't getting fed much by their parents these days, so they have to learn to hunt on their own. Along the edge of the river, some ducks were floating and bathing. The eagle had spotted them. It takes a lot of flying time to be able to pick a duck off the water. You'd better be a good flyer if you aren't a good swimmer. Hungry, wet, and frustrated, the eagle settles for a fish that has washed up near the bank. This is surely humiliating for the king of birds. It takes a long time to learn how to make a respectable living.
We drifted down this beautiful river to meet Morley Nelson. The young eagles are now on their own, and Morley has picked a spot not far from the cliff where we can observe their flying techniques. There are usually two things that cause an eagle to take to the air: rising air currents and rising appetites. As we climbed over the rocks, one of the young eagles soars out over the valley. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, time for them to go hunting again. Not far from the spring, the skunk is shuffling around looking for food: grubs, ants, and various other insects. Normally, eagles don't hunt near their nesting territory, but you never know what a young eagle will do. A skunk is well protected against most animals, but he takes no chances when an eagle is overhead. But the eagle has sighted him and quickly drops to the ground. This courageous hunter is determined, all right, but learns another lesson in his early life. He's just not built to crawl into holes, and skunk spray has a very bad taste.
Not only was the skunk too much for the eagle, he was too much for us as well. We moved on. Suddenly, the eagle came back over us. A badger had found the carcass of a mountain sheep and had already begun to tunnel under it. After the episode with the skunk, this eagle was determined to get a square meal. And the badger was determined to hold his ground. The eagle had no intention of letting the badger have squatter's rights, but a badger is a pretty tough customer. An adult eagle would have finished off the badger in a hurry. As it was, there was enough for both. We had witnessed another rare episode in the life of a young eagle, growing up and learning to take his place in the Valley of Eagles. In the past, due to a lack of knowledge of the eagle's habits, there has been a senseless slaughter of this magnificent bird. Fortunately, the United States Congress has recently enacted a strict law which gives the golden eagle complete protection to play his beneficial role in the wild kingdom. It's hopeful now that these young eagles will be able to grow to adulthood, build their nests along these cliffs, and stake out their own territory. With protection, we will always be able to see a majestic eagle floating on the air currents above a cliff, its cry echoing back and forth between the valley walls. And the Valley of Eagles will be preserved as a vital part of the wild kingdom.
Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom.
Like what you saw? Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for more exclusive content. And visit our website at wildkingdom.com.